Hello and welcome to Fraggle Talk Classic, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. My name is Beth, and I am rewatching for the millionth time.
My name is Julia, and I'm rewatching for the first time in 10 years.
My name is Adam, and I'm bobbing and weaving because I misread my notes again, and I'm rewatching this for the 5th time ever.
Fist time ever.
That's a new one.
I don't want to repeat them.
I mean, we've got, 3.5 seasons left?
Look, that just means they're going to get more and more unhinged as time goes on.
Great. Love that. Looking forward to it.
Speaking of segues,
Oh my god.
we have a guest.
Yes, you do.
Would you care to introduce yourself, magical guest human?
I am Matthew Soberman of toughpigs.com, and I am rewatching this episode for the first time since March.
Okay.
Ooh.
Because I also reviewed this episode for our 40 Years Later series.
Nice.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Oh, so glad to have you with us.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally be here.
So, today we're talking about episode 12 of season 2, The Doozer Contest, which originally aired on March 19th, 1984, written by Sujith Faragis and directed by George Bloomfield.
So we start off, and I actually have a question for Julia, because we start off with a Doc and Sprocket bit, and Sprocket is growling and barking, but his tail is wagging, and I don't speak dog very well. Julia, what does that mean?
I mean, typically with dogs wagging their tail, as most of us know, it's usually a friendly sign. It can also, I think that it's usually cats that people note their tails wagging as a bad sign. I think it can also be dogs, but normally for me, I didn't even notice that his tail was wagging. I was too busy being like, yeah, of course he's territorial of his house. Most dogs weirdly are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the dog wagging his tail, if that can be. I'm sure that there is some science if one were to Google it, which maybe I would have if I had noticed, but I didn't. I mean, maybe I would say that it's just he's being territorial, he's barking at the new dog, but maybe also there's a level of excitement, and that could, be where the tail wagging is also coming from.
Yeah.
Maybe mixed emotions.
Yes, as we'll learn. Lots of emotions from Sprocket in this one.
And lots of dismissal from Doc. Doc is just like, oh, well, that's silly, Sprocket. And it's like, Doc, don't dismiss your dog's wants and needs.
I mean, he's got a new hyperfixation.
Yes, indeed. Ants. An ant farm.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, to be fair, it's good because ant farms, you can get them really small. Uncle farms, those things are huge.
Oh my god. Should have known.
Oh, I'm gonna fit in here.
Hey, one of us, one of us.
I hadn't looked at the name of the episode when I started it, but the second Doc started speaking about the ant farm, I was like, okay, so we are going to see doozers in this episode.
Yes.
That's wild, because for me, it was the second we got, when he was talking about ants, there was that drum line under it, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's doozer sounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's doozer music. Doozic? That's weird. Never mind. That's almost as bad as Gorgishlor.
No. Remember, Gorgishlor is the good one. Gorglor is the bad one.
Gorgishlor is the less bad one.
Good point.
They're both bad.
They're both bad.
I would even say they're both worse than Doozic, but none of them are good. Anyways, so we get to see some doozers, and it's great. And they're like, wait, is it the Fraggles first or the doozers?
I think we see the Fraggles first.
Right, because they have the scene about we're going to go to this little hole-in-the-wall place that's out of the way that has really good food.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I believe I have the quote here. Boober says, "These out-of-the-way places have the best food," accurately predicting the rise of diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I also just love that Wembley is just kind of just playing with a yo-yo.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, the first time I watched it, the screen was doing something weird, and I thought he was just kind of batting at Moki's tail, and I was like, oh, that's really cute. I was a little let down to be like, oh, it's a yo-yo, but it's still cool. There's a puppet doing a yo-yo. That's pretty great.
Right?
I noticed the yo-yo, and my brain immediately was like, okay, this is either going to come into play later in the episode, or they're just doing it for the heck of it. It can really go either way at this point with this show.
Mm-hmm.
Just to show, hey, we can make a puppet bounce a yo-yo.
Yeah. What are you doing with your life? We can make a puppet do a yo-yo.
It does come into play, and we'll get to that eventually, but they really could have done, just any ordinary thing for Wembley later in the episode, and yet still they were like, hey, Steve, why don't you have Wembley yo-yo?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So then we get to see the doozers, and they're doing a tomato concentrate with mustard glue.
Tomato extract and mustard powder.
Well, but the mustard powder's using to strengthen the joints, they said. At least I think they said. Did I misremember? Look, it's the first week of school. My brain is extra Swiss cheese.
No worries. I did have to look up, let's see.
I also had to look up mustard.
I looked up the word modem because this is pre-internet, so what the heck is a modem pre-internet? It's just defined as a combined device for modulation and demodulation, for example, between the digital data of a computer and the analog signal of a phone line. Apparently, it is a blend of the word modulator and demodulator.
I thought it was just the opposite of less dem.
Ooh.
You got
boy.
sleepy, Adam. It's gonna be a day.
So yes, they've got these two new flavors. Unclear what the purpose is, but it is experimental.
Does art need a purpose, Beth?
Excellent point.
Although I have similar questions. We'll get to that.
But yeah, considering that this is the first time that we meet the character of Modem Doozer, she has quite the role to play in this episode.
She does indeed. I just also, at one point, there's a little dude cranking a motor, and the motor, like, the lever has caution tape on it, and the motor has the little black and yellow stripes. I just love the Doozers. I know this will come as a surprise to anyone who's listened to this before, but I just love them so much.
The little details are so good.
They are technical marvels.
They really are.
I mean, you're all distracted by a Fraggle playing with a yo-yo, and then look at the Doozers behind you. All that puppetry being done in miniature.
Oh yeah,
I know.
And also just like the mechanized aspect of it being so precise.
Yeah, these are real working machines that they're using.
Well, usually it's the machine moving the Doozer, not the Doozer moving the machine.
True.
Which, again, deep, powerful analogy about how the tools we make shape us in turn.
The underlying symbolism of things.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
That's kind of our whole deal.
Jim Henson's favorite thing.
Oh yeah. It's interesting because at first I was like, would you have mustard with tomatoes? That seems kind of weird. I wouldn't put like mustard on spaghetti. And then I was like, wait, hamburgers.
Yep.
Oh yeah, this is an analog for ketchup versus mustard.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I only got that because I reread your article right before this and I went, oh, of course.
Oh my god.
have failed all of you.
No, I
so
missed
sorry.
it too.
A fun fact, this episode was banned in Chicago because they believe that ketchup goes on nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. I never thought I'd disagree with a whole city. I'm gonna go to Chicago and put ketchup on it.
It's on all of Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck getting out, pal.
They won't catch me. I'll just put ketchup on me. What are they gonna do? Grab me? They'll get ketchup hands.
We can't arrest him. He's covered in ketchup.
You're too slippery.
Just grab him. I'm not touching that. As soon as that ketchup gets on me, I won't be a delicacy anymore.
So tonight we've successfully figured out how to commit a crime spree in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Ketchup bandits strike again. Speaking of segues, so the Fraggles see these towers, and they're really excited, and there's a great little joke where Moki says, such aesthetic presentation, and then Red says, yeah, and they look good, too.
And Boober, of course, is like, so Gobo says, what are these little guys putting in these things anyway? And Boober says, I don't know, but I wish I had the recipe. And I just, like, threw down whatever it was I was holding at the time and said, you and me both, my dude! Yeah, we still don't know how regular Doozer sticks are made,
No,
let
we don't.
alone.
I mean, we know they're made of radishes by this point, right?
Yeah, but
Well, yeah, I just mean
have
like.
you ever tried to make a radish into a powder? Because Beth has.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
But so there's a point here that is fascinating to me because when the Fraggles start destroying the towers, all the Doozers cheer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Beth said earlier, what do they get out of that? What's the benefit?
Well,
We've seen it.
a couple
Didn't
of
we see
different
it in
things. Yeah, so in
season 1?
in a very early episode, in fact, we learned that if the Fraggles don't eat the towers, the Doozers quickly run out of room to build. And so that's like maintaining the symbiotic relationship. But also, they're building out of edible materials when they don't have to. And I'm reminded of the brief time that I was in culinary school and someone asked me, you know, if you're making this gorgeous cake and then like someone cuts into it, like, isn't that gonna break your heart? Like, you spent all this work on this time making this thing so gorgeous. And I'm like, no, if that were the case, I would be a painter. The whole point of making the beautiful food is to eat the beautiful food. Like, yes, you admire it first, and then you get to hear people being like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like, that's the best part.
That makes a lot of sense, but also they don't seem to think very highly of the Fraggles.
True. Yeah, they're definitely not looking to the Fraggles for validation.
Yes.
For them, the work is the whole point.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the Fraggles are really just the equivalent of like, oh, well, I have a pencil, but I don't have an eraser, so I have to just draw a really good drawing and then wait for a giant to come eat my drawing off the page so I can keep drawing.
Yeah, kind of.
All right, that makes sense to me.
Love it.
I want to key into the dynamic here between Modem and what's the other guy's name? Flange. Because it starts off with them competing to compliment each other. And they're like trying to give each other the best compliment. And it just reminds me of that old story about two stoners getting into a scuffle in a parking lot at a dispensary over whose turn it is to pay for weed. And then the guy who won is so excited to go in and pay for weed to buy like both of them.
That's adorable.
It's one of my favorite apocryphal stories that was wandering around the internet for a while. But what's fascinating to me is that as soon as there's a source of external validation, stuff gets weird.
Yeah.
Because the Fraggles eventually are like, yeah, the mustard's best. And then suddenly Modem's all high and mighty and Flange is feeling a little hurt.
Yep.
Perhaps a little fanny troubled. I guess you wouldn't have to bleep but hurt.
Oh, I was like, fanny troubled? What the heck?
I knew exactly, because in my notes I wrote, Flange is still butthurt.
Hey.
You know, it makes a lot of sense when you and your friend are just equally paying each other compliments, but the second, like, I don't know, an outside source comes in from out of nowhere and is like, oh yeah, clearly your friend did it better, you know, then it becomes personal as opposed to just being like, yeah, we're equal, you did a good job, no, you did a good job, back and forth, and then, because, like, you're fighting to give a compliment, but at the same time, you're still getting complimented, so it still feels good, as opposed to someone being like, yeah, you're not as good, then suddenly, you know, both you take it personally, and then the other person, or Doozer, is filled with this sense of like, oh yeah, I did it, I did the thing, and so, you know, it feels very natural, unfortunately, very human behavior.
Yes. So in rewatching this, I know in my review, it talks about the dangers of competitiveness as they state explicitly in the episode. But as I was rewatching it, it hit me. Competition isn't the issue. It's ego and it's vanity.
Yeah, because we have seen competition in Fraggle culture all the time. Like, they have games and sports all the time.
Yeah.
And it's really only Gobo and Red who seem to get too competitive.
Yes. But, having just sat through the Olympics, yes, there can be joy and teamwork and camaraderie in competition. But when you start to take it personally, things take a turn, as we will say.
Yeah, and then people wind up getting sued in defamation lawsuits over Twitter.
Ooh,
well, that's not competition. That's just, ridiculousness.
I mean, it was led to by somebody. The point is, this is a thing that I think is really interesting because there's apparently like lore and a cultural understanding about like taking credit for something.
This forbidden thing that Doozers are never supposed to do.
Right? I love that this is a part of the lore, but I really don't think that's the right term.
I agree, especially when so they start this back and forth of insulting each other, which is great that we get so many Doozerous insults.
Yes.
Your dog sings upside down. The best insult ever.
Right? Like, I spent way too long trying to figure out, okay, we know two things about Doozer dogs. We've never seen one, but we know that they require waxing, and that if it sings upside down, that's an insult to its owner. That's all we know. Your turnip grease is rancid. Like, that's actually a sick burn.
That is a pretty sick burn, yeah.
Especially in construction.
Oh, yeah.
So they start insulting each other back and forth as they're going home, and Cotterpin is seeing her dad Flange is her dad, seeing him insulting his friend and this awful back and forth, what's going on? And she asks, "What's credit, Daddy?" And, well, I wrote in my notes, a predatory economic system that Jesus flipped tables over. But then I actually bothered to, to look it up on the etymology website. So apparently it started from belief or faith, like trust. So from, a loan, a thing entrusted to another, then having that credit is like a personal point of pride. So that seems to be where it went from a monetary loan towards a personal point of pride. Like, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree that I think credit might still be the wrong term for what's going on here.
I think and I wish they'd done a little bit more on this, because I think the operative word here is taking, like taking credit.
Yeah.
But, like, because credit is worth having, giving credit where it's due is important. If somebody has a cool idea, or if somebody does a really good job, being like, that's a cool idea, or that's a good job. And I feel like this is a point that they try to make here, but they don't make it as clearly as they could. It rarely ever lands on just one person's shoulders. Like, both Flange and Modem came up with really cool ideas, but without all the other workers to execute those ideas, they would just be thoughts.
Yeah.
I think why that taking credit is such the no-no is that it sets the individual ahead of the collective, basically saying, this is my work, and sort of what you were saying, diminishing the role of the ensemble.
Yeah. The old saying, or I don't know if it's an old saying, but the saying that I'm familiar with is, what do you call a genius tech guy with a brilliant idea that'll revolutionize the world and no workers?
Broke.
Got it in one. And I do think, well, that's an interesting, I like the idea of giving credit.
Right.
I like the idea of, like, recognizing people and also being able to say, like, hey, I did a good job on this thing.
Right.
But for me, I think the specificity of it is important, because it's not, I built this building, it's, I built all of the framing on the 3rd floor and did a really good job on the joists.
Yeah.
Yeah, acknowledging your part within the whole.
Anyways, the point is, pay your workers and join a union.
Yeah, it really does reek of, like, billionaires or CEOs being like, yes, this is my company and this is why I get paid so much, when really there's hundreds, if not thousands, of workers doing all of the work to actually make it function.
Yeah, like being a job creator. Like I'm a job creator. Yeah. No, you're not doing the work. You're just getting other people to do it.
Also, what creates jobs is demand, my guy. It really reminds me of AOC interviewing that dude who was like, oh, I made thousands of these. And she's like, oh, did you personally make each individual one? Did you? And he's like, well, of course not. And she goes, oh, okay, so you didn't make them.
Yeah.
Also, just like, Flange kind of sucks.
Yeah, when he... So, explaining these concepts to his daughter, they're kind of going back and forth on whether or not she's too young to hear about these, these concepts, and he just walks away like, you explain it to her.
It's very reminiscent. In a previous episode recently, we got Junior getting the quote-unquote talk, and that was kind of what I thought of for this one, except it was very much of like, I'm just going to leave it to the wife to explain to the daughter, like just going off. Less blatant, but it brought that to mind.
I do love that Cotterpin notices and immediately calls out her dad's hypocrisy.
Oh, yeah. She's like, oh, you mean what Dad's doing?
Yeah.
And he gets really grumpy. Also, like, he has a line that made me genuinely angry. He's like, oh, give him a little education. And they start to, and it's like, dude. What the heck kind of authoritarian hierarchical mindset are you trying to do here? You are a collective species. And then when she calls him out on it, he's like, but she started it. Like, dude.
Yeah, Flange is emotionally about 8 years old in this episode.
Yeah, but also very reminiscent of just any older generation.
Yeah.
Talking to younger people.
Yeah.
I mean, Cotterpin says it best. Grown-ups are silly.
Yeah.
They really are.
Grown-ups are silly.
And so Flange gets really frustrated, and he decides to challenge Modem to a duel. And I just love that their dueling tradition involves building instead of violence.
Right.
But you still have to throw down the helmet in a violent fashion.
Oh, yeah, you gotta throw down the helmet.
And you have to walk 20 paces totally unnecessarily away from each other.
Well, you don't want the buildings to wind up connecting, otherwise it'll seem as a collective effort again.
Oh.
And we don't want that.
Can't have that.
He yeeted that helmet so high into the air.
Right.
And it's clearly like being pulled by something, by a puppeteer, but just the sheer force of Flange, like just throwing it so high is amazing.
Also, can we talk about the fact that one of the insults that gets the biggest gasp, and well, you'll regret that, is when Modem calls him Radish?
Yep.
What the heck? You're insulting someone by calling them
like the
extremely
raw material?
useful?
essential material.
Like
yeah.
undeveloped, unrefined.
Oh, I thought she was saying he was only kind of rad.
That would be better.
I was thinking, yeah, maybe it is like the whole, like, your name is mud kind of thing.
Mm.
Like the most base, dirty material.
Mm. I mean, that sounds like, when you say like that does sound like a very Doozer-ish insult.
It does, yeah. Oh, wow, I hadn't thought about that. That's awesome, actually. I mean, messed up, but you know what I mean.
You're nothing but scrap wood.
Right. Sawdust.
I liked Wobbly Bridge.
Yeah.
It was the best one.
I do love when he's giving this challenge. They have this back and forth, like, interfacing requested. Affirmative. Commence communication. He hurls the helmet. Clarification, please. Like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
honestly just love this straightforward communication style.
Aggressively neurodivergent made me very happy.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated that when the architect finds out about this, he's like, the Doozer Vice, competitiveness.
Right? And because it's called the Ancient Contest of the Doozers, clearly this is something that has happened before and is supposed to not be happening now, according to the architect. Like, oh, I thought we'd moved past that.
It's uncivilized.
Ooh.
Indeed.
They also keep referring to both Flange and Modem as bulldozer, and it is unclear whether that is a job title, like bulldozer, or an insult, like bullheaded.
That is a tricky one.
I do appreciate that they have enough culture that there's something that is viewed as like an entire species-wise vice. Like if humans have war, Doozers have competitiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Architect Doozer even says, there's nothing to gain from competition except misery, which proves that the architect must be a Mets fan.
Hey, get them. The Mets are a baseball team, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay, I have to be entirely honest here. I full-on thought they were a basketball team, and I said baseball, so you could correct me.
No, I can understand the confusion. The Mets play baseball, the Nets play basketball.
I mean, do the Nets really play? They just have like a ball go through them.
No, that is fair, yes. It can get confusing because New York has the Mets, the Nets, and the Jets.
Wait, seriously?
Oh my god.
Yep. Mets
Wow,
play
yeah,
baseball, Nets play basketball, Jets play football.
That's not confusing at all.
I started snapping. And
I heard it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the reference.
Cool.
It's just gonna sound terrible on the audio.
It's going to sound so bad. So we come back to Doc and Sprocket, and I've seen Doc do some wild stuff. I've seen this man sew a button onto a frozen fried egg, but he gives the dog boxing gloves.
Yeah, he's doing the malicious compliance thing of like, all right, if you're determined to do this, we're gonna see it to its logical conclusion. And I was like, oh, this is like that time that Calvin's mom let him smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also an air of Doc kind of knowing that Sprocket's not going to go through with it. You know,
Right.
He gives this whole speech of like, oh, my dad gave me these gloves, and the thing that he said was by the time you finished putting them on, you forgot like what you were even going to fight over.
Yeah.
And so it's clear that he's trying to kind of teach Sprocket a lesson, while also, much like when he leaned into Sprocket wanting to be a horse, also supporting Sprocket, like kind of trying to do a little bit of both.
Sort of like working the anger out of him by making him do all these tasks, just leaving him so exhausted that he doesn't have the will to fight anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, just like it's so easy for the anger and anxiety to be processed once your body feels like you're doing something about it.
Yes.
Still, Sprocket does show some good form.
I mean, that's good to know. That's another sport I know nothing about.
I interned an entire semester at HBO Sports, which at that point was exclusively covering boxing. I learned nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They hit each other. All you need to know.
Great.
Yeah.
So Cotterpin is talking to another kid.
Mm-hmm. This is her friend Wrench,
Wrench, there it is.
who now we learn is Modem's son.
Oh, cool. Oh, was this the friend Wrench that we met in the Cotterpin episode?
Mm-hmm.
Continuity.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how silly the grown-ups are, but then she finds out that Wrench thinks his mom is going to win. And then when we see her in the next scene, she's got bandages on.
Mm-hmm. My parent can beat up your parent.
Yeah. That is how this kind of thing spreads.
Yeah, and they start off the scene, very firmly on the side of, like, this whole thing is very silly. The contest is silly. Grown-ups are silly. I can't figure them out. And then, sure enough, they fall into the same trap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a great moment because she gets on her little, like, whatever the ATV Doozer,
Little motorized tricycle.
basically, and she starts driving away, and then Wrench says, things can get back to normal once my mom wins. She immediately stops, goes, what? And then it hard cuts to the next scene.
Mhm.
Like, we don't see what's going to happen, but it's clear that she is not happy hearing that. And then, we see her, and she's got, like, a bandage on her nose, on her cheek, and one of her antennae is wrapped up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, as much as I don't think that the terminology they use in terms of taking credit is correct, I really appreciate the representation of how just insidious this kind of competitive mindset is.
Yeah.
Because we get to see, two people who have very little to do with this conflict who think it's silly immediately get caught up in it when it's presented to them. And then we also get to see, and I think this is actually the next scene, where Flange is like, this might be going too far, and he's walking to go try to apologize to Modem. And then he has this whole narrative that he tells himself in his head about how Modem's going to think that he's a fool.
Well, so before that, we see how the individuals of Cotterpin and Wrench, like you said, at first had nothing to do with it, get sucked into this competition. And then the next scene is we see how the collective gets sucked into it, because the next scene is Flange's crew getting worked up and singing this chant about how the best and they're gonna win, and that's when he says, like, oh, I wonder if I overdid it.
This whole episode, I don't think that there are really strong parallels to it, but this particular part of the episode made me go like, oh, politics. Mostly, we're currently in the States living through a very drawn out, very tiring election, and so seeing, like, people, like, kind of fall in line behind these ideas that, like, have sprung up that maybe they have overdone a little bit, depending. That's kind of, I don't know, that's been on my mind a lot, and so it was kind of easy to, I don't know.
When the architect is telling Flange to cancel the contest, he says something like, what can be made can be unmade.
Oh, I loved that.
And I wrote, I'm looking at you, Electoral College.
Oh my god, for real.
Get rid of it.
But yeah, I also thought of it in that when Flange is, like, gonna go over to see Modem, he's like, oh, our kids fought, enough is enough, it's gone too far. And then he just talks himself, like, slowly or quickly out of it. He's like, oh, but she's gonna think that I think that she's gonna win, but then she's gonna think that I'm a fool, and all of these different things, to the point where when he gets to her door, he, like, chucks his helmet again, and I think he says something like, who are you calling a fool? Like, completely out of context for her. It's so easy to have, like, a one-sided conversation and not just, like, I don't know, talk to the opposing side.
I think you're onto something, Julia, with the political analogy.
Just a little bit. The whole taking credit part, I don't think really falls in line with that idea, but
it does show how quickly and how the slippery slope into tribalism is.
Yeah.
I actually want to break that down a little bit, because you are right on the money with the thoughts that I had in terms of that, Julia. He's having a conversation with not the actual person, but his own imagined version of this person.
Yes.
And the conversation is entirely rooted in fear.
Yes.
He's not approaching it from a place of curiosity. He's telling himself a story in his head about what's going to happen if something that he's scared of happens if he's vulnerable. And then when the time comes to actually be a little bit vulnerable and maybe get something done, he reacts with violence. It really rings similar to a lot of people who like hate immigrants, and then they actually talk to an immigrant and they're like, oh, I've changed my mind about this. And it's like, dude, you could have just read some stuff, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Empathy is a skill, and it deserves to be taught early. And the system we exist in is designed to numb it and minimize it.
And grown-ups have to keep practicing it, even after we've supposedly learned how.
100%.
There's also a moment where, you know, he comes back and sees what Cotterpin has been through and is like, oh, that's it. You know, this has gone too far. I'm canceling the contest. And Cotterpin, who's now been pulled into this physically and emotionally, says, cancel the contest after what I've been through? Like, sunk costs fallacy, Cotterpin!
Yeah.
Poor kid.
And that's what happens when the troubles of tribalism. It's also very hard to get out.
That's how you get at Hatfields and McCoys.
De-escalation is also a skill.
Ooh.
Indeed.
Yes.
That one always made me laugh because I've seen people like call somebody like a coward or like a weakling for trying to not fight somebody. And it's like, man, you know what's really easy is being a combative jerk. You know what's hard? Not doing that.
Yeah.
So, speaking of segues...
Speaking of segues, which are a cool technology that were around for 5 minutes, I want to give the Doozers credit for two-way escalators. Like the escalators that humans have, at least currently, you gotta have a separate up escalator and down escalator. But we see Flange going up and down the same escalator.
Whoa.
In one episode.
Ooh.
I don't think I even realized that.
I didn't either.
It was the same one.
That's rad as heck.
They're living in the future.
Right?
The Doozer future.
The Doozer. Nope. Not that one either.
Doocher? Ugh.
Fuser. Nope. Anyways, so we get the traveling Mac card, and Moki's actually genuinely excited to hear it. And have we ever seen that?
Moki, probably.
She's generally supportive.
It's Red who always goes out of her way to hate on Matt's cards.
Hold on. So there's a bit... So before the postcard...
Oh, did I miss the scene?
Well, so first they start the contest the next day with walking the 20 steps away from each other. And there's this great moment where the architect says, I suppose you two think you're the first Doozers to ever compete. And Flange is like, well, aren't we? I'm like, dude, why would there be an ancient contest of the Doozers if this is the first time this has ever happened? The architect's like, oh, hardly generations of Doozers have known competition before you. We never seem to learn. I'm like, there it is.
So the Doozers think they fell out of a coconut tree.
Wait, what?
This reference is not going to make sense when people listen to it years from now.
Good.
What is it a reference to?
Kamala Harris saying you think you fell out of a coconut tree. You exist in the context of everything that has been before you and everything that surrounds you.
Oh.
I have heard that.
I didn't realize you'd said that. Cool. Good for her. But it also gives a little bit of cultural context for the Doozers that maybe they don't have a social memory that's very much longer than that of the Fraggles.
Yeah, maybe not. They always say the longer a society's generational memory is, the more powerful it is.
Ooh.
I don't know if they always say that. I just sort of thought that.
I do appreciate that the tomato team all have red helmets and the mustard team all have yellow helmets.
That is very good. So we get to see the traveling Mac card, and it's about him trying to eat buildings again, which we've seen this bit before, but this time he's like, oh, I'm going to try it higher up. And I just got really excited because traveling Mac finally gets to see how elevators work.
He's been in an elevator. Wasn't that the twin episode? Or no, it was the episode where two people got in an elevator and they came out and they were, quote unquote, suddenly like different people, different genders.
Different people, yeah.
And then he got in the elevator and he thought it changed the world.
Okay, so this time he is aware that he is in a box that is going up. I see.
Right, because it's got a glass side to it so that you can see the cityscape as you're going up. Yeah.
Well, it initially thinks it's a cave.
Right.
Sure. Upon first glance, I really thought that was the Space Needle. And then they showed a shot of it from far away, and I was like, nope, not the Space Needle. But from like down below for a second, I was like, ooh, Seattle. What's he doing in Seattle?
I also thought it was the Space Needle.
Nope, just Toronto.
Yeah, it's a large building in Toronto.
I've been up that.
Ooh.
Also, Traveling Matt is colonizing Toronto.
Right? Yeah, he plants the flag with the solemn mark of the Fraggle on it for all Fraggle kind. I wrote in my notes, no, Matt, stop being a colonizer! Except that's the whole point of Matt.
It's also the whole point of Canada.
Ooh.
Oh, snap.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Sorry, Canada.
I'm not. Support your indigenous people.
Right?
Come on. So, did anybody else have a hard time trying to figure out how this connected to things in this episode? Because I could not find a thread.
Oh, I totally forgot to draw that connection. Huh.
I guess I just thought that he was going up a big structure, and we've seen Doozer's building structures this entire episode. It's so loose, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a stronger claim to it than that.
I mean, I guess when he says, I claimed it in the name of Fraggle kind, I mean, the whole concept of, colonizing something, claiming something that's been there already, I guess could connect to the concept of taking credit for something that you didn't actually do.
Yeah, the ego involved in claiming credit.
But also he claims it for Fraggle kind, so kind of getting back to the power of the collective.
True.
He's not claiming it in his own name.
He does sign off, though, with, love your heroic Uncle Matt.
Well, that's, Uncle Matt behavior.
Yeah, that's
He's
just his
always
ego.
gassing himself up, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the first time he's done that. Normally it's just, love your Uncle Traveling Matt.
Fair. So, we cut back to the contest. Or is there a Doc and Sprocket bit in there?
No, now it's the Fraggles are back.
Yeah.
And they're ready to eat these new towers, and they're very excited about it. And they discover that, these new ones are awful.
Well, doesn't the architect refuse to judge first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And mad respect, the architect is like, no, we build for the joy of building.
Yeah.
We don't build to be better than other people.
And then he tries to declare it a tie.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, someone has to win. It's like, actually, you both lose.
And that's when the Fraggles come back on the scene, and they're like, oh, we'll just let the Fraggles judge again, because we've already seen this one time before. And they hate them. They hate the Doozer sticks. They're nasty.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I finally found a framework that I think is like kid accessible for this, and I am waiting to have the opportunity to try it out. But being able to say like, hey, it's easier to feel better than somebody else than it is to just feel good about yourself. But it's healthier to feel good about yourself instead of feeling better than somebody else.
Right.
It's like the 2011 Muppet movie. Believing in others is easy. Believing in yourself is hard.
That's fascinating.
And like having to illustrate the difference between believing in yourself, like believing that you are good versus better than someone, that's a tricky concept for a young mind.
Yeah, it's interesting because like the duality is always like self-esteem and ego, right? And ego's really easy, and self-esteem, you have to like build a foundation and be in a decently healthy environment to do that. You kind of got to let it grow on its own. But I've been trying to find a good way to just like frame it in a way that kids can understand, and so I will report back how successful that one is.
Yay! Please you.
But so they're like really mad that he's trying to judge it as high, and they're like, no, we need to ask a Fraggle who the best one is, one that's decisive, one who can make a choice. And in my head, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be Wembley. Oh, it's gonna be Wembley, and then it was
Such a great setup.
Looking for his yo-yo.
Yeah, they decide they have to find the wisest Fraggle alive. Which, Wembley may be indecisive, but he's got some wisdom.
He does.
Is this the first time we've really seen this many Doozers, like, interacting with a Fraggle in this way? Because obviously
Definitely.
we got the one Cotterpin Red episode where that is, like, the closest bond we've seen with the Fraggles and the Doozers. But this one, Wembley is like pulled in and he looks kind of scared when we finally go into the one song of this episode. He's like chewing his nails and you get like the teeth chattering sound effect to go along with it. He just seems so like unsure of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, probably not many Fraggles at this point have this much interaction with the Doozers being like, you're gonna do this thing for us. And he's like, oh my god, I just thought you guys made things. What's going on?
Yeah, and then we get this song called Doozer Building Song, parentheses, we'll work together building shapes in the air.
I wanted to like this song.
Right? There's a little bit there.
There's a fun vibe.
Yeah.
And kind of a decent idea, but it feels like a lot of just sort of like word salad mishmash of all of the concepts that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of just a distillation of the rah, rah, rah attitude, which we've already seen.
Yeah.
Like, the song doesn't really add anything new.
Right.
Yeah.
I do like that it gives us a little bit of what the Doozer ethos can look like when it's better. Like, you know, we will all work together, they sing, as they're, you know, competing with each other and therefore not getting it.
I mean, well, each team is working together within itself.
True. And the space that we're building is the grace in our lives. Like, there's some cool concepts here, but overall, yeah, it's just a little marching song.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the only thing that I had to say about it, and I don't know what line or what anything led to this, but I just wrote in my notes, the individual is a myth. You're welcome.
There's also a moment where they're sticking their tongues out at each other that's very cute.
Yes.
Very good
Blowing
puppeteering.
raspberries.
Yep.
A lot of good puppetry work in this one.
So then Wembley puts the tower sticks together and it's like, oh my god, they're so good together.
Hashtag Porque no los dos. Hashtag Wembley confirmed bisexual.
I was going to say, Wembley saved the day by being bisexual.
Also, one of the rare times where Wembley has a very definitive opinion. Like, he knows.
Yeah.
You know, they stink on their own, but together they make something great. And he doesn't have to Wemble at all.
I just wonder if this is how we fix the gender wars. Is just with bisexuals coming in and being like, here's the thing, you're both so hot.
That's the thing about Wembley hating to have to decide is, like, you know, he wants to go to the thing that Gobo's doing and he wants to go to the thing that Red's doing. He wants to be able to do both.
Yeah. And in this case, he can.
Yeah, it's so interesting. He makes the right decision by not making a decision because they're like, which one is better? And he's like, together, both of them. Like, you know, he doesn't fall into it. He doesn't have to decide between the two of them, and ultimately that is the correct answer. So, good job, Wembley.
Yep.
And then we cut back to Doc and Sprocket, and Sprocket has done some tricks for Ned Schimmelfinney and brought back what I can only assume is a cow femur.
The biggest bone.
That bone is huge.
Too big.
What is Schimmelfinney up to?
Yeah, what has he got going on in his backyard that Doc just hasn't noticed at all?
There is some mysterious stuff going on.
But yeah, this whole competition was started with Sprocket not just because the new dog was there, but because Ned Schimmelfinney gave the new dog a bone and not Sprocket. And now the new dog has given a bone to Sprocket. And there's, like, to Doc's credit, he says, "Aw, you've made friends, Sprocket. You won. You won more than you know." And I was like, oh, okay, that actually is a really nice message.
Friendship!
Friendship is magic.
Yay!
Wait, wrong show.
Magic is French. No, Magic the Gathering. No, wait. Beth, hurry. Tell us about the international versions.
Let's see. There are no notes on the international versions in Muppet Wiki.
No notes? Ship it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This has been radical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't tell Chicago, but I mean, the message is ketchup and mustard are best together.
I had one last question for you, Matthew.
What's up?
Did you notice anything different about this episode, or did it hit at all differently when you watched it this time than when you watched it in March? Or was you basically just like, oh, this is the same thing?
I really noticed that, the real danger is ego, vanity, and tribalism as opposed to competition.
Righteous.
Like, I did notice that, maybe even the architect Doozer isn't quite seeing the real danger of what's going on.
Yeah.
He just knows competitiveness bad, and that's not necessarily true, but...
Yeah, there's a more nuanced point here.
Yes, and that is, don't get too sucked into it.
Yeah. Shall we talk about how to... Oh, go ahead.
No, that was going to be my how we make the world a little fragglier.
Or a little doozerier.
Well, in this case, a little fragglier, because I was going to say more healthy competition. Using the example of our friend's annual Crushing It party, where there's a watermelon crushing contest where cheating is encouraged, and then it is followed by watermelon wrestling, and there are awards granted for style and flair, and there's an award for biggest cheater, in addition to the usual awards of, being the fastest to crush the watermelon, or, being the champion wrestler. It's all a very, very good time.
And you do eat watermelon, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, this year there was a local queer marching band and fundraiser for Palestinian families and
Righteous.
A bouncy house and a boat that was turned into a ball pit.
Wow. Nice.
All extremely good.
That sounds like it's going to work way better than that time I tried to turn a ball pit into a boat. All right. For how to make the world a little doozerier, if your kid calls out your hypocrisy, listen to them.
Heck yes. Wingnut, to her credit, did say the Cutterpin was right, so credit for Wingnut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Wingnut was on it as a parent in this episode.
Yeah.
I will say that receiving credit is such a nice feeling, and so you should keep that in mind and also give credit where credit is due, because it's often deserved.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be, acknowledged, both for you and also the other people as well.
Indeed. Matthew, do you have some way we can make the world a little fragglier or a little doozerier?
Put ketchup and mustard on your hot dogs, people.
Or your radishes.
Chicago, they make fabulous hot dogs, and that's fine for them. But unity, putting them together, will enhance your hot dogs so much more.
Mm-hmm. You heard it here, folks. Put ketchup and mustard on Chicago.
On all of it.
You all want to plug your pluggables?
Yeah, Matthew, where can people find you?
You can find me on the outlet formerly known as Twitter, at Matthew Soberman. Full, first and last name, no spaces. It's about it. I'm not really anywhere else, at least publicly.
Well, and you write stuff for Tough Pigs a lot.
Yes, you can always find me on Tough Pigs, and I do a semi-occasional show on Twitch at Screenhole TV called VHS, The Void of Horrible Stuff, where we watch old vintage TV specials, and we riff on them a lot.
Excellent. You can find me at Beth Anna Cook on social media. That's Anna with 2 N's, and occasionally writing stuff for Tough Pigs.
You can find me at Geek Girl Grown Up on social media, also occasionally writing for Tough Pigs, at juliagaskell.com for some poetry, and I believe 1 week after this episode airs, you'll find me getting married.
Yay!
Fun fact.
But maybe
Yay.
don't find her getting married. That's personal kind of a...
We have a maximum head count. Please don't come. Otherwise they'll charge us so much more money.
If you want to come, just cut your head off first. Leave it at home.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
And bring watermelon.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's probably the last time I'm going to plug this, but I have an article on Tough Pigs right now for the Neurodivergence Beacon. It's called Gonzo, Neurodivergence, and Me. And it's about how Muppets from Space made me ugly cry.
It's very good. All right, that is it for this episode. Reminder to check out toughpigs.com. Give us a good review on your podcatcher of choice, and we will see you next time.
Don't forget to dance your cares away.
Down at Fraggle Talk.
Wow.
Down at Fraggle Talk.
Ooh, nice.
That's good.
Fraggle Talk Classic is brought to you by toughpigs.com. Fraggle Talk art by Dave Hulteen Jr. The Fraggle Rock mark and logo, characters, and elements are trademarks of the Jim Henson Company. All rights reserved. Fraggle Rock theme song, written by Philip Balsam and Dennis Lee, is used with permission. Special thanks to the Jim Henson Company and the entire Fraggle Rock family. For more from Tough Pigs, please find us at Tough Pigs on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, TeePublic, and Patreon. Fraggle Talk Classic is produced and edited by me, Beth Cook. Thank you to Joe Hennis, the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time, down at Fraggle Talk. General impression, like if I were to see this behavior in a real dog, both like, growling and barking with the tail wag, I would assume not like aggressive aggression, but like
passive aggression, like this dog is about to make like a really backhanded compliment.
Maybe.